Okay, and we're back. Hello again. We'll continue our discussion about death. Yeah, I had a kind of point I want to bring up, but I forgot it just before I turned on the mics.
I mean that you forgot it before you said.
Yeah,
you just experienced a mini death. I mean, that idea.
Exactly. It went back. You see, it went back to the source, and then can come
source.
Back. Yeah, the idea itself, because they never die. They just go back, and then they.
So you mean the idea is immortal?
What?
So are you suggesting the idea is actually immortal?
I think the ideas come from somewhere. That is a whole other topic there,
right.
But you, especially artists, that they talk a lot about that ideas, you need to get in a certain meditative state to start to access your subconscious, and then from there you start to grab all those ideas.
I see. Okay.
Speaking of artists, now I remember what I was wanted to say.
Cool.
So let's take two artists, or like famous people who have died.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth and Avicii. Do you know Avicii? Yeah. So the thing is, I believe that we all get to, like, our body and our mind dies, but our, let's say, spirit or legacy, we all get the same basic legacy in a way. Or how would I put this? So Queen Elizabeth dies when she's like 98.
Yeah.
And there isn't that much of a. People just say, "Oh, she died. Okay, whatever," and move on with their days. And she isn't really remembered.
Well,
she's
colonialism.
Yeah, but
that's some legacy right
there. Yeah, but I think a person who has lived their whole life, who dies, peacefully when they're like old, people who die of old age, they aren't really remembered, or their spirit isn't strong in a way. But if you have someone who, Avicii died when he was 27, 28, and I still listen back to the music and think back, oh man, well, I wonder what he would say about this, or what kind of music he would produce. Or if you have someone who has died unexpectedly, they are much more in our minds and our thoughts than someone who died of old age. So in a way, they still live their, there's your first death, which is when you die, and then your second death, which is when you're, like you said,
forgotten.
Exactly. Yeah. So your second death will become much longer if your first death came soon. So I think we all get the same, there's more ways to exist in this world than your physical, your mind and your body. So I think it's really comforting to know that in a way we have immortality.
Is that something that, since you have been talking a lot about legacy, is that something that you strive for personally?
Yeah, I believe that that's the thing that gets us up in the morning, is that we believe that we're gonna have some sort of influence or some sort of effect on this huge world.
But is that somewhat selfish, if you think about it?
I mean, it's not selfish. It's selfish if you think, I want to be remembered.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you think, no, there's this great world and I want to contribute something to it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that's selfish.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's something I strive for. I want to contribute something to, like the guy who made the bicycle or invented that, or he was building on top of...
Maybe it's not the guy, it's a collective of guys and girls, even girls.
Yeah, and what do you think, because this ties very well with today's society of legacy, which is like a total prostitution of that, which is the attention, right? You go social media and it's just look at me, and then if you're not getting likes, if people are not remembering you, then you feel bad, or you feel like your legacy is not there. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know what to think about that. Just the world
Because it's like they take that definition that you said and they apply it, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, well, that's just
That whoever is loudest, will actually carry on with the legacy.
But I don't think I don't want a legacy of me. I don't care about like.
It's just not the game I would like to participate in.
Yeah.
Therefore, I have zero legacy in terms of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or like you don't have zero legacy in terms of that, but you just don't care about it. So,
Yeah, but then society might remember.
Well, society can do whatever they want to do. I don't. It's out of my hands.
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
So that's
a
my
good- yeah.
my view on that is that
Yeah.
people can do whatever they want. Like.
Okay.
Or my perspective, if there are more games in this society than the game you just described,
Yeah.
and there may be some game that I would like to participate in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good concept that you said there when you say the word games, because if we think about our society as we're just kids, and we're in the playground and we go there. Okay, I want to play with this guy. What do? They build buildings. I want to play with this one.
Yeah.
I make constructions. So we always have the option and
You learn the
to not
rules.
play the game or to play the game, and we see that's like, fuck it, I don't have to do this. Like I don't have to play the game of paying taxes. I'm gonna move to Switzerland or I don't want to play. This role, like I'm a fisher in a fishing village. I don't have to do that.
You can switch, or I don't. I mean, we like to use gaming terms or like role-playing terms.
Yeah.
It's not that you start over with a new class.
Yeah.
It's just you switch classes, so you still
Exactly.
have.
Multi-class in there,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is not optimal ever when you're role playing. That's the problem.
Yeah, but that's why the analogy is not that great. But because you're not really starting over with a new profession,
Well,
you're just you know.
That would apply if, like we said, if when you die, then you keep coming back as something else. Doesn't even have to be human, but you are back. So then you're resetting the game each time.
From scratch.
Exactly.
Skill tree 0.
Exactly.
Except
Skill 3.
skill tree 0.
Exactly.
In comparison to now,
Exactly.
when you
need XP.
transition, you still have the skill tree of the previous one, where you can potentially branch it out and direct it so that your new current skill tree can be built.
Exactly.
So you can still grow from the previous stats.
Yeah. And then one thing that conflicts with the feeling of I would say with the Buddhism and stuff, that you have to reach enlightenment. Okay, with this brain, imagine that I'm reincarnated into a monkey, which uses less brain capacity than we do. Then how the fuck do you reach enlightenment? You're a monkey. Do you get out of the pack and like, no, I'm not gonna go with you guys, I'm gonna meditate? You're a monkey, you cannot do that. So how do you get out of there? You can't.
Well, we all, like we said, we all have our part to play, and I think it is. I agree with you on that. The ultimate goal for humans is to preach enlightenment or to gain more knowledge.
Yeah, for humans, exactly. But what if you're an ant? You're an ant.
You're out of the game. You're
there's
playing
not much
different
to do.
games. You're not playing the game of consciousness. You're playing the game of let me pick up some stuff and build something.
Yeah, exactly. Basic shit. Yeah, but it's
We just haven't added. I mean, we haven't added a layer of complexity.
yeah.
Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. That we have consciousness. We are aware. We
I think
basically
only
don't.
human and only human being with consciousness come up with the terms good or bad. There is no good or bad
Exactly.
in nature. It just is.
Exactly. It just is.
When a tiger eats a deer, it is not bad. It just is.
Exactly. It's how the tiger was like given. It's like I have to eat to survive. The other has to eat whatever to survive. So
So they die.
no hard feelings there.
No hard feeling.
I don't know. I think death is too overrated
Overrated?
in certain societies, like in Europe. It's like, oh, life. It's like, dude, we're just someone else. Like.
You mean death is overrated? You mean?
Or life is overrated.
I agree.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
I agree. I've heard this term
like we're so important and unique and all that shit. It's like,
Yeah,
dude.
we're not. But just the saying, what is it?
Well, I just realized that one of the way that human beings separate as the highest class of being in this earth is that we are aware of death.
But maybe other animals are. We don't know that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, when a dog sees another dog die, aren't they sad? They're sad, right? Because they can't play with it
sad.
anymore and shit. So maybe they're aware, like, fuck this.
Yeah, but are they aware of the
Death.
potential future that they will die?
That we don't know.
That we don't know.
That we don't know.
But I think when people say that life is too short, I would say life is too long in a way. You know, it's just because you know me. I always say that existence is pain.
Yeah.
So that's why we say rest in peace. It's because I think we go, okay, he or she doesn't have to fight anymore.
Exactly.
He can rest now.
Unless he got respawn
Exactly that.
with another
Yeah,
character
but-
with inferior class
Yeah, but-
and got a heart.
Yeah, but that is the thing. Even if you think it's philosophically or not, we are gonna get respawned one way or another. It's true. Like even okay, let's say you die and then your body whatever, and then the worms eat you whatever, and then those worms create more living organisms, and you're part of that because they fucking ate you.
That's your legacy,
So-
basically.
Yeah, exactly. Your body is also legacy and
Nutrient.
everything.
Yeah, this sweet muscle
Exactly.
will
So
becomes the
then
food of worms and bacteria one day.
exactly, and then they will fertilize a tree, and that
Yes.
tree will be eaten by a human, and that human will have sex, and then there's another tree there. Like there's
The
a
circle is now
exactly, and
Circle
you're
of
like
life.
Terminator. You're like, I'm back. Okay, like, you know, without clothes, of course. So, yeah. So it is like that. It's just a matter of time. But who gives a fuck about time? Time is relative. So when you're dead, it's like I'll be back. Maybe I see you in 3,000 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See you later,
But
alligator.
maybe exactly. I'm going back to that we're all made of the same source. Let's say, haven't it ever happened to you? Okay, you have friends in Vietnam, I guess, right?
Yes, of course.
And when you met them, they were this specific type of personality, like this, like that, or they look. And then when you come here, you meet someone, and you're like, "Oh, this motherfucker is exactly like that guy from Vietnam that I know because they behave." Like, you know, when a specific people, you're like,
right.
okay, I need to talk to this person like this, and I need to talk to this person like this. And then you meet their counterparts several times in my lifetime. Like, I met the same archetype of a person 20 or 30 times.
Archetype, you use
Yeah.
the word correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. I can see an archetype of personality
Yeah.
in Vietnam and in here, and
Yeah.
I can like.
And anywhere, it's like, even if they have the
Yeah.
cultural baggage, but who they are is an archetype, and you're like,
Yes.
okay, you're this archetype. And I always relate that back to the first person from that archetype that I met in my life. And I'm like, aha, you're going to this.
So that you know, actually, when you do that, you know how to act. Because
Exactly.
you have experience dealing with that archetypes, and
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
mental library, you
Yeah.
know how to
Exactly.
interact with that archetypes,
And
and
you
you
also
just
think,
transgress
would it be funny to put them all in the same room, all those
like
archetype people?
Spider-Man.
And see, yeah, exactly, and see how they behave. But then that also, like, people so far away, but they have exactly the same archetypes. It tells you that you're not that special after all, because again, there's the same that we're here. There's a lot of trees out there, a lot of Enriquez, a lot of Yukos, for sure.
It's the same archetype, but it's not 100% carbon copy.
It is not
It
tree,
is not
but it's the
tree.
archetype of
I
tree.
see.
You know, you made different decisions. They made different decisions. So they can be below us in society or above us in society, but they are there. They are the same archetype.
I see.
I think it's comforting to know that you're not unique because it tells you that, oh, there are other people like me. So it's not so, you don't feel as lonely in a way,
Yeah.
you know? So, who would want to be something that, I mean, if you're something that is completely unique, just like an archetype, which is,
You're a weirdo.
yeah, would
mean,
you
like-
want to be that? No.
If,
Well,
if
y-
you are so completely unique, you are not a human.
Exactly.
Human is a
Exactly.
collective.
Exactly. And that happens, for example, when you, through your life, you're always looking places to belong, right? Not in a desperate way, but you're always like, and of course, the smaller the city,
It is a multi-
let's say you're in a small town, you're like, fuck, I'm this kind of person, I like these kind of things.
Yeah, I mean,
And here
why are we
everybody
in
does
B6?
this.
Why are we in platform 6?
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
we're attracted to this place. We find
Exactly.
like a small place we
Interest.
belong into.
Exactly,
spot.
exactly. And then you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then if we were in a bigger city, then there's even more of those little subcultures of people that they like this specific thing or this specific thing, and then they like go there.
Yeah, like I was just walking today and I saw a goth hanging out with those cosplay people,
Yeah, yeah.
and maybe that's also part of it because we're not a big city, so there aren't that many subcultures.
Exactly.
So they hang out with each other. So yeah, it's like when you go to prison, it's the whites, the blacks, and all the races.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah. So if there's only in Finnish prisons only one black, it's like fuck it, I don't need to hang out with the racist.
exactly. He needs to find some other group than and sometimes, I mean, my understanding of the prison world comes from movies. So sometimes the smaller gangs, or like the Asians and the old people, they get together, they form the old Asian people, so that they have bigger numbers. You know what I mean?
Is that knowledge coming from Prison Break?
Yeah. It comes from somewhere. It comes nowhere. But yeah, so we want to, whenever we go to a place, we have the sense of belonging.
Yeah, because we fail to see each other from another perspective, right? Because there's always, like, we need people to tell us what's wrong with us or how we are, right? So when we're there, we can see people that might be similar to us. So we can be like, okay, these people is doing this douchey stuff. Probably I'm also doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mirror, or it makes you understand yourself.
Exactly.
Because you see yourself in a mirror, in a way.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. But then again, coming back to the dead stuff and the uniqueness and shit, like I'm anti uniqueness in that sense, because as much as we want to be unique, we're not unique. There's so many things that we're just the same as the next person.
We can have a combination of personality and
Yeah.
workness to like different combination at a certain level of analysis.
Exactly.
That thought to me is actually comforting.
yeah, we're just building on top of like what has already been built, basically.
Exactly.
We're just adding something else to it, you know?
Exactly. And if you think about the main consciousness as this big psychedelic soup, there's like colors, right? So there's the red, the yellow, the green, whatever, right? And then we might be of a specific colors. You might have more green than red, and I have more red than green. I don't know, something like that. So when we are created, then you need to find people that are like you. But then that means that you are very close to the green people in the soup, because you come from the same. I don't know if this is making any sense.
No, it does make sense.
But
Because
if you're following.
the sanguine, I think it's called the sanguine theory, came up. They came up with it in the ancient Greek, I think, that there are 4 colored people.
Yeah.
There's the red personalities.
Temperament.
Yeah, temperament. Yeah.
Temperament, and then someone decide to make it more human friendly by making them as a color, so they don't know how, so that people don't know how to pronounce difficult Greek word can actually deal with.
Yeah. Well, I like the colors.
That's called abstraction.
Exactly. So exactly, because these are very abstract concepts we're talking about now. But if then it's all mixed in the same container after we're dead, consciousness wise, then what we do in our lifetime is find our colors, let's say, like hanging out with our subcultures. So because we're following something inside of us that is telling us, I like this, I don't like this, I want to go this way, I don't want to go this way.
That's the path of enlightenment. But I also think, because you're trying to figure out yourself, right? You're trying to gain knowledge.
But in the end, you will find your tribe, let's say. is even because it doesn't matter which path you walk, as deep as you go, older people probably that think like you are gonna walk that also, right? So then in the end you are a bunch of blue collar people or whatever color it is.
You mean throughout history? Like if I
Well,
once
through
I die,
history or the contemporaries also.
I would say it's a collection of tribe as well.
Yeah.
Because I hang out with you guys, and to be specific, you guys belong to a group of open-minded people who orient towards philosophy. But another subset of the person I know, including Yuho and Andrew, is the programming, techie kind of subculture.
That's true.
And then I also a group of Vietnamese friends who we have been bond with each other since coming here for 6 years. So it also a sub-tribe.
Yeah.
So it's not as monocolor as only blue, only green.
Yeah, but it can be due to consequences.
Consequences.
For example, nationality. You didn't choose your fucking nationality, you were given one. Or your gender. You didn't choose that shit, right?
No.
You were like, well, nowadays you can, but when you were born, it's like, you have a dick, okay, you have a dick. That's how it is, right? So you hang out with guys. But because it's a consequence. But then that versus saying, I would like to learn coding.
Right.
That is something that it was here and you wanted, right? To project. So I find those more authentic than we are here because we are the only international people in Finland, or because we're dudes.
you mean it's not the what has been basically assigned to us.
Exactly.
It's more when we think, what do we want to do, and we try to figure it out, and that causes us to do some activities. It's that's the. So you're saying that you prefer to hang out with people not because they are assigned.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that it might be like that. But I don't have opinions on that.
He just describe a phenomenon rather than to assert his opinion.
Exactly, but sometimes there is there are things that just happens, and then you have to get together because of that, like this, and then things that exactly, and then things that you want to do, and therefore you actively seek that, and then there are people there that also arrived there because they wanted to seek that. You know, if now you want to swim, you go to the swimming pool. Other people that want to swim, they will go to the swimming pool, and you'll meet them there, and you can talk about swimming.
But in a way, isn't everything? It's nothing is assigned, because let's say I am like. So a thing that pops into my head is a Chappelle show skit where there's this really racist KKK remember, and he's black but he's blind, so he doesn't know he's black, and everyone's been telling that, hey, you're white.
Yeah.
So he becomes the biggest KKK leader of all time. But yeah, my point is, we just respond to. Nothing is really assigned to us. What is, we're reacting to other person's perspective and other people's reaction to us, and that, you know. So it's not that I'm not, in a way, I'm not a man. I'm just, people respond to me as a man, and that causes me to have man-like thoughts.
That yes, but then you also have inside, you might be more prone to anger than other people, for example. You know, that is there. They don't need to tell you like, hey, you are more aggressive. You know, it's there already.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have our physical and just circumstantial things. Like I was born in Finland.
Yeah.
And he was in Vietnam, so.
Exactly. And there's also the other thing that about, again, choosing and consent and so on. Like, we didn't get any consent. Nobody asked us to live in this life. It's like, hey, do you want to be born here? Like, nobody fucking asked us. Our parents, they just fuck. And here we are.
Here we are, provisioned with a new line. Now figure things out on our own.
Exactly. because they could have asked us, say, hey, you want to come? I'm like, no, fuck you. Like, I don't want to live in this day and age. Thank you very much. Call me in 200 years, but no, we're here.
But I think that's one of it boggles my mind when I think about
But we can choose how we die, can't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
but
at least the way...
that goes back to the suicide stuff, because like people, they are like, oh, you should love life or whatever. It's like, dude, I am forced to live. Like, you're forced to be alive. That's the thing. Because you're just fighting for survival, and then your parents fucked, and here you are, and now all of a sudden you have to go to school, and then you have to pay bills and shit. Like, what the fuck?
Well, it's the natural mode is decay. The natural mode is towards the entropy. So therefore, it's humans' great resistance and efforts to live. So yes, we are forced to live.
Yes, exactly. And not only because we want in the brain, but because the feeling is telling us you need to eat. You're really hungry. You need to eat, right? And
we need to survive.
Exactly, and then we need to have sex because we don't understand anything. It doesn't think about the condom. It's like reproduce. It's like all the time thinking about reproduce.
It's a DNA script.
Exactly,
it's a script.
Exactly. It's a fucking script there.
Yeah, it's encoded
like
in us.
We are programmed, and that is the funniest part. That it's just to realize that you are programmed.
Make life a matrix.
It's so mindfucking. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why are we programmed like this?
We can program ourselves, or that's how
to an extent, but you cannot run away from the nature, right? So that's the thing. And again, nobody asked us to be like this. We are like this. We're like fuck. Like, why?
When we are provisioned into this new life, everything is pre-installed to us, and we don't know who is the coders to pass us the documentation.
Exactly.
And we don't know we don't know what we are. What do we like, really? We don't know ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So we come without any instructions on this world. There's no instruction manual like.
But exactly. It just happens.
Maybe that makes it fun. Then we just have to figure out, and maybe we just have to guess and come up our rules to play it.
Yeah, while we're in this existence,
Yeah.
Because it's like the body is like a small, then you become a teenager. Like, that's programmed, right? When you're this old, you will become a teenager.
Yes.
And then this will happen.
But what is the very details of being a teenager? That's very up to the individual, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a believer of destiny, so I don't think that you can't defy your destiny. You can't really. It's already been written for you. What are you gonna do, basically, and you're just completing it. So.
How come?
Because, talking about ideas that have utility, or like, I really think if you believe in destiny, it will cause you to think much more positively about your future. Because let's say you believe that, I'm destined for something great. I don't really know what it is, but something great is gonna, that's my destiny. Then it will cause you to have a more positive outlook.
Wouldn't it shatter you if that doesn't happen then? Your whole personality is like...
I didn't live up to my destiny. Who am I?
Exactly.
A failed human.
Exactly.
It doesn't, because then you go, this was my destiny. Or it's like you're not. You
can bullshit yourself. It's like, no, it wasn't that. It was this.
Yeah.
My destiny, and then this didn't work.
Yeah.
No, it's this.
But if you live, if you live without believing in destiny, then you're just going around going, you're less in charge of your life in a way.
I thought it was the other way around, because you're less reliant on an external source called destiny. You have your own agency. You can now determine your orientation in the world because you create that outcome.
Well, I guess destiny gives me a sense of security, because I have it's just unraveling. It's already been written. I'm just unraveling it, as opposed to if I didn't have a destiny, or if I didn't believe in it, then it's, what am I? This is too chaotic. This is too confusing. Too many options.
Yeah, well done. I mean, I don't believe in destiny at all. I just think that there's a playground here, unlimited opportunities, and you can tap into them anytime you want. But is it confusing? Is it chaotic? Of course it is. That's the thing when you have too many options.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to choose.
Yes.
But you need to choose if you want to move in a specific direction. Because at least for now that I know in this existence, we cannot be in different dimensions, you know, in time and space. Because if we could, then we could like multiply ourselves basically and do everything that we wanted. My alternate 32-year-old person would be now working upstairs, and then they would be doing something else at the same time. I'm having sex, probably. So you see, so then I could achieve everything of the playground.
Yes.
But in this, it's like, well, there's only this lifetime.
You can only experience. Maybe you can only experience this lifetime. This consciousness can only experience this lifetime. Then, maybe what should you do with it?
I don't know, but that's the big question. And then to think that there is a more important one thing to do than this one, that's a bit bullshitty for me, because it's from society point of view, there's always those pressures like, yeah, you should be a doctor, you should do this, right? Like, you should like aim high in society. But if you think about the planet, of the world, of the universe, who gives a fuck if you're a doctor? Like, who gives a fuck?
Society may.
Yeah, maybe you could have spent your life better watering plants, you know, making trees grow, making life grow. Maybe you could have spent time doing that.
But from a
or fucking, you know,
no, but from
reproducing.
A practical perspective, being a doctor, well, comparing being a doctor and someone who watering the plants, a doctor has more financial perspective
in society wise.
In the society place,
like for how I see it is that the reason I would study or I would do something is because my understanding of life just increases.
Okay.
So I study business. I can see things from the business point of view. But if I'm studying biology now, for example. So
you will see it from the biology.
Exactly. I can see it from here. And I'm like, okay, so you need to develop the brain in so many different pieces that you can see you can appreciate life so much more. Because you can understand. If we knew everything about everything, we would be here and look at those bricks and say, oh, these bricks were made like this, and this window is like this. Now I look at the window and like, well, what the fuck is this? But if I really studied it, I would appreciate it, because I would be, oh, it's so well made and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So life is about life appreciation for me.
Yeah.
That's a good summary there.
That's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Enrique, for coming to this.
Yes.
Pleasure.
A very engaging discussion and eye-opening. It's open to a lot of opportunity and topics you brought to us and the audience.
Yeah.
Happy to do so.
So, we see you guys in the next episode. Keep on philosophizing. Is that a word? Well, it is now.
Yes. Patented.
Okay, patented. Yeah. Okay. See you guys. Bye.
Goodbye.